We're going to preach out of the word.
Let me go get my Bible.
Oh, you got to forgot my Bible.
Whenever you're ready.
All right. Gentlemen, good morning. For those of you who don't know me, my name is John. Today we're going to be talking about, or through 1 Timothy 5, 9 through 13. This is a passage very dear to my heart, and a topic very dear to my heart. So let's dive right in. A widow is to be put on the list only if she is not less than 60 years old, having been the wife of one man, having a reputation for good works, and if she has brought up children, and if she has shown hospitality to strangers, if she has washed the saints' feet, if she has assisted those in distress, and devoted herself to every good work. But refuse to put younger widows on the list, for when they feel sensual desires in disregard of Christ, they want to get married, thus incurring condemnation, because they have set aside their previous pledge. At the same time, they also learn to be idle, and they go around from house to house, not merely idle, but also gossips and busybodies, not talking about things proper to mention. Therefore, I want them to get married, bear children, do the work. So, the way I really want to understand this for us in context is this is Paul speaking and addressing a body of believers and giving them instruction on how to edify this specific demographic. But really, how it's the church's responsibility to help us edify all the other believers. So we see many things, and we're going to hone in on verse 13 where it talks about what happens when we don't do that, when we're out of place. What it says is they learn to be gossips. Well, I'd like to use this illustration because I believe this understands the gravity of this. In World War II, what the Axis powers, Germany, would do to slow the assault of the Allies on Berlin and other places is they would plant minefields. And what that would do is it would create, not only slow down the assault, but also hopefully cause casualties and whatnot. So what the U.S. would do in their attack was they would send through a Pathfinder, and the Pathfinder would locate the bombs with metal detectors, or sometimes they would just blow up a path, woohoo, we have it. And so the Pathfinder would tell the convoy leader, hey, this is your path, take it, right? Pretty simple. And the convoy leader would then, hey guys, follow me, we're gonna go through. This is what I want you to picture. You're the convoy leader, you have men behind you, you're in your tank. Start whipping the wheel. What happens? Danger for all of your comrades, for you yourself included. This is the destruction that gossip brings to the church. It is one of the deadliest poisons to cripple a body of believers. You say, why? Why not? So, thinking about what it is, it's defined, and I cannot pronounce this Greek word, but it's defined as speaking against others maliciously and starting rumors. When you get from point A to point B, you have a mission, you have to get to Berlin, whatever you want to do. You have your men and you're trying to get them there and you're trying to do it well. In the same way, we as a body of believers are to edify each other and getting us to that point, to the point of ministering to the saints and bringing the message to the world. When we decide to gossip, we break everyone else's confidence and trust. And not only that, we start lies and we spread false rumors. At youth group, we did this thing called Helping Hands, and we would go out and we'd serve the homeless community. Now imagine what would happen if you're serving with these people, and there's about 10 layers of malicious intent behind everything. It's a terrible mess. I've experienced it myself. It's absolutely awful. So, this is in complete contrast to 1 Thessalonians 5:11, which, as we'll see, sin is basically just the perversion of everything right and good to do. 1 Thessalonians says, therefore, go on and encourage one another and build one another up, just as you also are doing. You'll see this, that we have a work to do. In context, 1 Thessalonians is about how we have a lot of work to do and we have limited time to do that work. Well, what do? We encourage each other up and we build each other up. So, We see this terrible sin, but how do we get there? Well, going back to verse 13, we see that in their idleness, they learn to be gossips. So the historical context for this, and this is really what I want us to hone in on too, is the historical context of this book is young boys are going out and they're working, right? Women, they follow their mother, they work. The men, the women, everyone works. And so when you have this unique case of a widow, they have an opportunity for basically being idle, living off the church. And what Paul is doing in this context is he's saying, hey, I don't want this to give them an opportunity to go below reproach, give them an opportunity to gossip about everyone else. So instead I'm gonna say, hey, do the work, go on, get married, don't follow after your passions. So I really want to think of laziness as the ability or the place, the environment to allow temptation to come to a boil. You're not doing your work, you're not focused on anything, you're just kind of like letting your thoughts run rampant. You become the critic of everyone else. This is where we get to the heart of the issue. The classical usage of the word laziness is an unwillingness to work. This is a heart issue. This isn't just, oh, where I work, whatever. No, you're unwilling. You're rebelling against the way that God has called us to do the ministry. It's truly sad. This idea is cross-referenced in the Old Testament, Proverbs 18:9. Whoever is slack in his work is a brother to him who destroys. Again, we see this parallel of when you don't work, destruction occurs. When you don't work, you break the confidence and trust of others because you've allowed gossip to enter your life. So we see that, and there's also something else mentioned. There was busybodies along with the gossips. These are people who, this isn't necessarily bad things, but they just meddle in other people's business. They take what is not theirs and then they reveal it to the world. This, again, Proverbs 11:13. He who goes about as a talebearer reveals many secrets, but he who is trustworthy conceals a matter. I would like us to think about the idea, or hold on to the idea of being trustworthy, as it will allow us to become the edifier. It will allow us, when someone has an issue that we see needs to be addressed, we can go to them privately and say, hey, instead of exploiting your vulnerability, instead of exploiting this area that we need to work on that's preventing us from effectively accomplishing the work of Christ, they go to them and they're like, hey, this is your issue, and we'll see that idea. So instead of gossip, instead of bearing false witness against our neighbors, what do? Again, this idea of, from 1 Thessalonians, we're to edify the saints. If it is not helpful, if it is not necessary, do not say it. Do not say it. You are going to be, when you allow idle speech to protrude from your mouth, you are effectively destroying the work of the Lord in the body of believers. So, couple of things I'd like to ask you. Where is laziness protruding in your life? What are you doing or not doing that you need to do? So things like procrastinating in schoolwork. This is something I struggle with a lot too. Let's say you have this assignment. I put it off till like a few days ago. And so what are 3 applications? I'm going to draw 3 applications from this. And I'm not gonna lie, the first one is very near and dear to my heart and something I kind of like having to struggle with. And that is filtering your entertainment. We think about this idea of tearing everyone else down. Well, half of comedy is just roasts. It's gossip. There's literally like shows called like Gossip Girls and whatnot. Heck, the Royals or the English, whatever the heck they are. That's literally just royal drama. Think about how much is out there on the internet to put us in this mindset of becoming those who talk about others. So that's the first one. The second one, we see beautifully how the scriptures are meant to renew our minds. It says, wash your mind with the word and you'll be renewed. So where in the word can we be renewed in a sense? So Matthew 18:15-20 has the beautiful framework of how we edify a believer and restore them into the faith, instead of taking that weakness and exploiting it to others. It says, go confront them privately, and if you win them, you have won a brother. And then it goes on to basically explain the framework of what to do if they're unrepentant. And then let's continue on that. We all know how at the end of all of his epistles, Paul is like, hey, I commend so-and-so for doing what, right? The end half of Philippians 2 is all, it goes through and he's like, hey, Timothy's a good dude. This is why he's a good dude. These are some other good people in the church. So look for things that, even among Christian standards, we are looking to edify them. So, yeah, edify and don't speak gossip.